Good morning, and welcome to my little part of the internet here in the northwest of England. My name is Sam, and I'm a stay-at-home mum who just likes to faff with pretty things, mainly jewellery. How are you all? Hope you're all doing okay. I've been making rings recently, and look at these. I'm all ringed out. Remember Ringo from the Beatles? He was called Ringo because he wore a lot of rings apparently. So I think my new nickname should be Ringo. I have really pretty ugly hands, sadly. Very big masculine hands. I do wear a lot of rings. So I thought that I would have a bit of a play about. And, you know, we've come up with these. I mean, you know, people have done these before. They're not exclusive to anyone. You know, but I thought I would hang some little charms off some of mine. Aren't they cute? So we're going to go and have a look how to make these pretty little heart rings. There are two ways that I've found to do these. You can either put the hook here and have the heart slanted down the finger, so you can put some little charms on, or like this one, you can make it a little bit straighter without the charms on. Got this one here because I've got 3 children. Aren't they cute? Yeah, so let's have a look at the materials that we need. Now these ones I've made from 14 gauge wire, and these are this one is 16 gauge, so you can get away with a lighter gauge. I think possibly the 14 gauge is better. That's what is that, 1.3 millimeters, something like that. But let's have a look. So silver, or indeed copper. I'm going to be showing you in copper today because I love copper, but obviously you can make these in silver. The only thing that I would suggest you do when you're doing it in silver is just be very careful with your tools. If you have tools that have nylon, you know, if you've got some nylon tools, use those with your silver plate. But 1.5, I beg your pardon, it is. I will put all the measurements and everything for all of the wires and all of the excuse me, all of the all the gauges, all the equivalents in the description box. So 1.5 millimeter wire I'm going to be using. What else? You're going to need a ruler just to measure things out. You're going to also need a ring mandrel. I have my steel one here, but I'm going to be doing a little bit of bashing on the band just to give it some stability. So if you have a wooden or a steel one, that would be better than a plastic one, obviously. You can, if you want, come in with a hammer and a block to flatten or texture the little heart if you wanted to, but that's optional. I don't think I will be doing today, but we'll see how we go when we get going. What else are you going to need? Just your tools. So obviously snippers, cutters. Nope, not using them today, Sammy. Oops. I'm going to be using my pliers, chain nose, my round nose, and what else? Some little beads. Any beads of your choosing. I'm using 3 millimeter here, 3 millimeter here, and just, you know, whatever. Just a little flower beads, just whatever you like. So some little beads just for the charms. And I think that is it. Yes, it is. So let's get going and let's all be Ringos, shall we? And make lots of these pretty little hearts. So I'll see you in a few. Okay, we're back. So let's get going. Make these pretty little heart rings. Aren't they cute? Really simple to make. And I think actually they would be really good gifts. Or indeed, if you were going to be doing a little craft fair or something, I'm sure that these would sell really well. Yeah, so let's get going. Let's measure out some wire. So I've got quite big hands, so I take a decent size. Now, obviously, these are UK sizes. A V1/2 to a W on my index finger, my pointer finger. So, you know, I'm going to give you the measurements for my size. You'll need to adjust accordingly. If you've got very dainty, very pretty, dainty little hands, which I wish I did, I'm taking 7 inches, okay, which is just short, just over 17.5 centimeters. Adjust accordingly to your liking. These are just ideas, don't forget, not prescriptive. Right, so pop your 7 inches of wire, or however long. You're going to need to find around about 2 inches, 5 centimeters along, like so. Give give or take, doesn't have to be exact. And then we want to bend like so. Bend, bend, bend together like so. And with this being 1.5 millimeter, obviously it's got a little bit more handle to it, so a bit thicker gauge wire. So what we want to do is to bend this wire very gently. Now this is the point where if you're using coated wires, this is where it all goes awry. So that, because of that, we all know how difficult this part is because we've done it before. When you're bending your wire like so and tightening it up like so, it very often sort of springs out of place, doesn't it? And then that's when you can mark your wire, you know, and take the silver coating off. So just be very careful. If you've got nylon pliers, then, you know, do that. So this is what we've got here, a bent piece like so. Yeah. So come in with your round nose pliers. Now you can make these hearts any size you like. So the smaller the heart, the smaller the diameter of your round nose plier, obviously. But I'm going to be using right down at the bottom because that fits my fingers perfectly, I think. So take your wire, not like this, but like this. So don't do it, you know, that way, flat ways, do it that way. And I'm going to pop it right down at the bottom of my plier, like so. And then all you do is carefully bend your wires around. Put the short piece over the top of the long piece to shape your heart shape, like so. And then release your pliers. So you have what looks like a pretty heart. Yeah, dead simple. Turn your heart upside down so that the short piece is underneath. We want to be bending this around. All right, so hold your heart carefully. Now, if you want to come in with your nylon pliers and do this, then that's absolutely fine. I like to use my fingers just because I've got strong fingers. Just literally bend your wire around like so. So you've like a wire wrap loop essentially. And just tighten that up a little bit, like so. So you're happy. Okay, and then chop off at a slight angle. Can you see? So you've not chopped it like this, you've chopped it at a slight angle. All right, the reason I do that is that when you come to squish this down, like so, you have a nice edge, tight edge here that doesn't have any sharp edges. If you find that you've got a slight, you know, sharp edge, just come in with an emery board or your little file, just give it a wee file if you need to. I don't actually on that particular one, that worked out quite well. Right, so here we have our little heart, which is ready to be made into a little ring. So I'm going to demonstrate both ways of doing this. For this one here, it's angled so that the wire is, the heart is facing down the finger so that you can put some dangles on, and we'll do this second one in a second. All right, so let's just do this one first. Dead quick, dead easy. Really quick video, this one. Now, my suggestion is to make it a size larger than the size that you want to make. So for me, I'm going to make a V. So I'll bend it around the W of my wire mandrel, like so. Keep everything nice and tight, like so. Then just try it on the finger. Yeah, that's fine. That's fine, like so. All right, so don't worry about the shape of it for now because we're going to be dealing with the shape of it in a second. So what you need to do now is to chop this wire here, literally just where the heart length ends. You know, when you started your wrap part here, just chop off your wire so you have you have this around about there. All right, get rid of the little snip there. Again, pop it back on your mandrel, just double check everything is fine. Yep, that's fine. Separate it slightly, because we're going to be putting it back on our mandrel soon, and we're going to be sort of fashioning it into shape, so don't worry about this stage too much. Come in with your round nose plier, like so, and I don't know, about here-ish, start to bend that part of the wire, like so. Pop it inside your heart. Now it looks a bit skewed with, that's a very northern term. Looks a bit skewed, doesn't it? Looks a bit odd. Don't worry about it. So we're wanting to be bending this guy over here, like so, like so. All right, looks a bit weird, don't worry about it. So come in with your plier here and just tighten up like so. So again, like I say, it looks a bit weird, looks a little bit misshapen. Pop it back on your mandrel. Now then, this is where you come in with your little hammer. So where is the hammer? Chasing hammer, very, very, very lightly. Pop it on the size here, very lightly tap the heart. Very lightly. So you're wanting to be making the heart sort of bend around the mandrel slightly, like so. And then tap very lightly the band. Try that, do that without making a lot of noise. But it is what it is. These things make noise. Like so. All right. Try it on the finger. Yep, fits fine. Pop it back on the mandrel and then just squeeze and bend your ring into shape like so. I'm going to give that a bit of a hammer there. Bit of a bash there. Here, there and everywhere, and as you can see now it's gone into shape. There we are. There's our, that was 1.25 millimeters, this is 1.5, so this is the larger gauge. Okay, so as you can see it's a bit more chunky, but that's absolutely fine. Did the same with this one, a bit more chunky. Let's suspend a couple of charms off it, shall we? So we'll get rid of all of that. Let's get some beads. I'm just going to pop 2 on, like so. I'm going to use 0.7. You can use 0.8, which is what, 20 gauge, 21 gauge, something like that. You only need a tiny, tiny little bit for each one of these. Now I'm choosing to just put a little loop on the end, and I give my loops a little bit of a bash, which I'll do off camera. Just make sure that they are a little bit more secure. That's it. Pop your bead on like so, and then chop. Let's have a think. Oh, that my tummy, you can hear my tummy rumbling. And then make a loop like so, as long as the loop is big enough to go on your ring. That's all you need to do. So again, do the same with this. Just make a little loop. I'll give it a bash, or a tap should I say, rather than a bash. Pop your little bead on. Oops. Okay, give it a chop. About so. You know, you've done these before, you don't need me to. And if it's a little bit long, all you do is just chop a little bit off and come back in with your pliers like so. There we are. So let's get rid of all of these bits. Bits are gone. So here's our ring. our happy little ring, and we will put, oh, I sound like Bob Ross again, don't I? I have to stop quoting Bob Ross or else his team will come after me for quoting him. Right, there we go. Pop that on like so. If you wanted to wire wrap these on for more security, you can do. That's entirely up to you. Entirely up to you. These are just ideas. I just really liked the idea of having a couple of charms. I like charm rings, if you like a bit of something dangly. And there we are. Cute little charm rings. There we are. There we go. And that's with the bigger gauge. Actually, that would probably look better on the middle finger. There we go. Cute. What do you think of that? Really cute, huh? So let's dispense with that one. And we'll make this one, which is just ever so slightly different. And I will use a thinner gauge wire. So let's have a look. 1.25, which is 16 gauge, I think. The other one was 14. Yeah, let's quickly go through this. I'm not making this a very long video because, you know, it doesn't have to be, does it? So about 7 inches. You could probably get away with slightly less, actually. But again, I'm using 7 inches because I know that quite a lot of us have larger hands, especially if they're arthritic, you know. So 7 inches of wire. Come down 2 inches, give or take. That's for your bend. So start your bend off. Get rid of that there. That's your bend. Bit easier to manipulate the lighter gauge wires. Squish, squish. Oh, see, I knew that was going to happen. Always does that, doesn't it? There we go. Squish together like so. That's your wire. Come in with your round nose pliers. Place it that way. Hello, Glory. Come to join me? No? Yes. Place your wire in your pliers like so. Bend around like so. Short wire over the top of the long wire. Certainly if you're right-handed, this is how I make mine. Okay, so you've got your beautiful little heart shape, like so. At this stage, you know, when we wrapped it, you can hammer the loops if you wanted to. If you don't, it's fine. So I'm just going to bend my wire over, keeping hold of the heart, like that. You can either do it with your fingers or come in and use your pliers. It's entirely up to you. It depends on how strong your fingers are. Mine are quite strong. So there we are. Super easy. Go in with your choppers. Cut it slightly on an angle. Like so. And then just squeeze like you would a wire wrap loop. Like so. Make sure everything's nice and secure and happy. Yep, there's no evidence of anything sharp on that one there. So this is what we have. The next thing we do is come in with the pliers. Instead of leaving it like that so that it sits down the finger, we're just going to put a little bit of an angle on this here and move our wire so that it's sitting straight. Rather than that way, it's sitting this way. That makes sense. And then again, come in with your mandrel and bend it around your mandrel like so. And you're going to want to cut it off again in a similar place around about here. Okay, and then just bend it out of the way a little bit. Like I say, this part doesn't matter because we are going to be reshaping it, aren't we? Come in with your round nose plier and just start to make a loop. Pop it underneath. like so, and then continue that loop around and bend it over. So you get to about this point here, and then just pop it into place so that everything's nice and happy and secure. Back onto the mandrel, my friends. There we are. And again, just have a bit of a tap, bit of a tap, and then if you wanted to work harden without the texture, I like the texture, but if you wanted to just work harden it without the texture on it, just come in with a nylon or a rawhide hammer. Just give it a wee bash, a very, very gentle tap, and then just move things into place. Now I've found when I'm doing mine, because you're winding it around, you get a bit of a flat part here, and you'll find that when you do it yourself probably. So just in order to get rid of that, just bring in your round nose and just bend it around a little bit. There you go, perfect. All right, so that is our other little ring, which we can wear without any charms on, like so. So there we have it. How cute are those? Absolutely gorgeous. I really like these. They're very, very sweet, aren't they? Perfect without the embellishments, and because you've put a little bit of an angle on this wire here, it means that the heart sits a little bit more straight. If you're wanting to fit it down the finger, obviously just leave that straight and don't put an angle on it. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. I really like these. They're very sweet, lots of fun, aren't they? And yeah, let's all be Ringos, shall we? And make lots and lots of these and wear them all at once. Why not? I think I probably will even wear those all at once. Why not? Especially if you like that sort of maximalist, I hate to use the word boho because it annoys me, but like a bohemian style, and you like to be a bit more maximalist, wear them all on, put one on each finger. Why not? How fun is that? So if you would like to share what you've been making in our private Facebook group, I will leave I will leave a link down in the description box for that. Otherwise, let me know in the comments how you get on, and it's a delight to have you all here. I'm doing more rings, so watch this space. Speak to you soon.